Stay tuned for my analysis of the 2019 Mr. Olympia coming up right now. What's up everybody, Brett Kennedy here. Today I will be going over my opinion on the 2019 Mr. Olympia Men's Open results. So it was an exciting year. There was a little bit of openness to it this year, you know, with Sean Roden being out, last year's Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath, 7-time Mr. Olympia, being out of the competition, Kai Green not being in the competition for the last couple of years, including this year, and then Big Ramy not competing this year as well. You know, there was a little bit of who is going to win. There was probably 5 or 6 guys that realistically, even though I hate that word, but realistically was probably going to take the show. So let's start with number 5, Roelly Winklaar. You know, he's only 5'6". This shocked me when I seen this. They said he weighs 297 pounds on stage. This guy is an absolute cartoon character, and that's why I really like his physique. He has probably got the best arms, him or Phil Heath, in the entire world. He's got cartoon arms, massive pecs, great detail in his hamstrings. I noticed, and again, I'm not a professional judge by any means, it's just me, a bodybuilding fan that's been watching it for a decade, you know, saying how it is. I thought he might be holding a little bit of water in his lower back, and over time, that was always Roelly's biggest thing, was his gut. You know, could he control his gut? Because if he could, he's probably a top 5 guy in the entire world. If he doesn't, he really slips down that pole pretty quickly. And I thought his abdominals looked really good this year, so I thought he did a good job controlling his stomach and his abs. The other thing about, for how short he is, he actually has fairly high inserted lats, so his lats insert fairly high on his back. So in my opinion, that probably, even though he has a very, very wide back, it doesn't, you know, if you think of like Jay Cutler back in the day, how the lats flowed, or Kai Green, how they flow all the way down almost into his hips, it looks like, you know. So just having those higher inserted lats, it's a genetic thing. I'm not sure if you can improve that or not. It might take away from him a little bit. Number 4, the number 4 place was Dexter Jackson. He's actually 49 years old. He's almost 50 years old, and he's placing top 5 at the Mr. Olympia. You know, he actually won the Mr. Olympia in 2008. They said he's been competing every year but one at the Mr. Olympia since 1999. That is absolutely incredible. So, you know, he still looks really good. I think he has one of the best physiques that flows in the entire lineup. So just one of the most proportional physiques. Everything is even. So, I mean, his arms are even to his back, that are even to his legs. And he still has a lot of detail on his legs. He might not have dialed it in quite as well in his abdominal region as in the years past, because that's what Dexter is known for, is absolute symmetry and detail. And I thought maybe he was missing a little bit of that detail in the midsection, so that probably hurt him. But I mean, hey, you place 4th at the Mr. Olympia at the age of 49, you might as well bring it back next year, because again, if he brings it in, even at 50 years old, if he dials it in, and if anybody's off, he has a shot to even win it next year, in my opinion. Okay. So number 3, Kookmin. I might be butchering that name. It's a Middle Eastern name, but he's actually from Iran, and I was very impressed by this guy. To be honest with you, I have not followed him much, but I thought he had some of the best abdominals in the entire lineup. And again, I thought that he had the best quads and hamstrings in the entire lineup. Me personally as well. Extremely detailed, extremely vascular, extremely veiny. Might have been some of his tan was perfect too. But I thought he did a really good job, and he has an extremely powerful arms and chest. So I feel this guy, I believe he's only in his early 30s, so this guy is going to be something to watch out for. So Bowen is number 2. Now this guy has been placing in the top 5 for the last couple of years, I believe, at the Olympia, and he is he's definitely got that kind of bowling ball physique. Reminds me a little bit of like a Kai Green type. So I wouldn't say it's very proportional, but it's very, very muscular in my opinion. And he is a deserving top 5 placement. So very awesome arms and chest. Thought that was awesome. He has a very feathered back. When he hits that, when he starts that back pose, you can see the Christmas tree on his back extremely well. But again, just being in my personal preference, is not my favorite physique. I like the more, a little bit more, I don't want to say classical because that's its own organization or its own deal, but that bowling ball physique doesn't have quite the same flow as like a Dexter or even like a Phil Heath. That's why I always preferred Phil over Kai as well. And then let's move on to the number one Mr. Olympia champion 2019. This is Brandon Currie. So this is really interesting though. I remember Brandon Currie when I first started watching, getting really big into bodybuilding, in the early 10s, so like 2011, 2012. Brandon Currie was a big deal. He was a big name. He was with one of the big supplement companies at the time, so I was always watching his videos. And then he was known as the prodigy. He was known as the next up and coming big shot, and he just never quite could reach what his potential, because it would have been in 2013 he won the Arnold Brazil and then kind of took a hiatus for the next couple of years again. And he's known as a family man by the interviews that I've seen. He has 4 children, and it's kind of a cool story. You should look it up there if you want to. But he actually took and he left his family. His family lives in Nashville, Tennessee, and then he went over to Kuwait it'd be Oxygen Gym, and took like a year or so and went and trained over at Oxygen Gym and just basically dedicated his life to bodybuilding, so to reach his full potential. And it definitely worked out, because his physique is awesome. Obviously he's got great genetics, and it shows when he puts the work in on top of it. Some of the best arms in the world, extraordinary pecs. I think he probably won from the back as well. His back is absolutely incredible. If you were to nitpick, and again, this is just me, I have no right to speak, but this is just me observing. Maybe a little bit more detail on the legs. Like I said, I think that Haiti might have got him in the legs a little bit. But again, if you're going from the back, that width of the back and everything is just incredible. So Brandon Currie is a very much deserving champion. I believe he's only 5'8", weighing in at about 255 on stage. So he has some really, really good muscle. And he's only 36 years old, so he's got time to improve. So those are my thoughts on the Mr. Olympia. I would love, love, love next year to see all the returns. If you got Phil Heath, Kai Green to come back and go up against Brandon Currie to kind of see who's the champion of champions, I think that would be just a phenomenal, great storyline. I would absolutely love to see that. Let me know you guys' opinion. Am I right? Am I wrong? Comment below. Let me know.